Hello. How is everybody tonight? Hopefully, everybody's doing good. I just got back about 20 minutes ago from seeing a movie. I went to see, what's the name of it? Sound of Freedom! It was really, really good. Uh, I saw it today on a Tuesday because it's cheaper, but it would have been very much worth a full price in my ever so humble opinion. So, what shall I talk about tonight? Till somebody comes on with me, and then we'll talk about whatever. If somebody comes on with me tonight, that is, of course. Otherwise, I'm just gonna have to ramble my way through this as I might normally do or try to do. Um, well, you know what? I should be sharing this out since I'm on. So let me share this out on the Twitters. There we go. We shared it out on the Twitters. Let's grab that link, close that, and of course, we'll share this out in our Discord as well. We've had a few videos up today. We put out a short on Messenger, my character Messenger, and of course, we did the Melvin 3, the last few panels. The inking of that today, and of course, then we have this. Hey, my SketchUp, there you are. Not eight. Yes, here I am. I am here. I am here not to save the day, but to talk, to chill. Um, and if you want to come on, you're free to. My sketchbook. Um, Hope you are doing good. I went to see Sound of Freedom today. I'm not sure whether you heard that yet. Uh, because today was cheap day, I wanted to save some money, but it would have been well worth the price of a normal day admission, in my opinion. You know, it, I thought it was excellent. Of course, it's based on real life, so although sometimes it's hard to say how much they change things from the real story because we know what they did to Laura Ingalls Wilder's books, which were based on her life. They changed that very much. So, be right back. Okay. But hopefully they didn't change little to nothing that they changed in this as a movie, in making it a movie from real life. So, um, and then I've started watching two animes. I'm not sure whether anybody would have heard of them. Angel Cop and Seven of Seven. I've watched the first episodes of those. Um, they were definitely interesting. Seven of Seven is about a girl that gets split up into seven people, seven versions of herself, um, through some sort of, oh, I'm not sure what it is, technology or whatever. In the thing, Angel Cop, a cop anime. I think they're gonna in the second episode. I think something genetic's gonna get done to a couple of the characters. Um, it's set in Japan, which a big thing. But apparently they got a lot, had a lot of peace or whatever, or not a lot of crime or whatever. I'm not sure. It's been a couple days since I watched it, so I might have to. Oh, well, hopefully, once I rewatch it, I will remember a bunch more of it. Um, so what else is going on? Of course, Monday nights, I now have a Monday night draw stream, which sketchbook. You're welcome to come to that and draw along with me, Chris, hopefully Mighty Geek, maybe Metal, or whoever else wants to pop in and draw. Um, and that'll be in well, it's called Saturday Draw Along in my Discord. This week it was just me and Chris from Hero Shack. Um, and then, of course, yesterday I was doing some of my manga at noon. Tomorrow we've got two people coming on for the 5 o'clock shadow. Telepathic Bunny at 5 approximately. And we're going to go over his book and all that, his campaign for about an hour, talk to him about this, that, and everything as we usually do. And then, of course, as well, at 6, one for called Sector 7. The reason we got double booked is for Sector 7, we had reached out to them. And then I was on a stream about a week ago with last Wednesday, actually, on Chris's channel, Hero Shack's channel, and Telepathic Bunny was on there. We were talking a little bit about crowdfunding in general, more just to promote Telepathic Bunny's a project over on Fund My Comics, and because I hadn't gotten a response in like a week or more from Sector 7, the people doing Sector 7 over on Fund My Comic, I decided to ask him, but at the same time, he said about reaching out to them on what's the name of it? Twitter, and said that their Twitter handle was Sector 7. So there, so well, I did that, and then he responded the next. I did that the next day, and then he responded about coming on for tomorrow because I had said about it. I'm like, crap, I don't want to say no because his campaign is low, below the mark. He has a little bit more time, and I did want to push off Sector 7 because they have a little bit less time. So I had remembered Telepathic Bunny saying that he had to be somewhere for 6:30, so I figured, okay, I'll bring on the one for 6:30 or 6 and have the one on for 5 where I start. So we end up having like a 2-hour show, an hour and a half to 2 hour show for two different campaigns. Give them both about an hour, depending on how things go. So hopefully that works out well tomorrow. Hopefully people will be by for it. And I'm just rambling. Uh, let's see. I was trying to check my Discord to see if nope, nobody's there yet. What can I say? What can we say about the drunken sailor? What can we say about the drunken sailor? So early in the morning. Hey, Mike, how are you? Good to see you here. And then, of course, you always have Mike Stream, who was on just before me here, talking about some good stuff. I'm not completely sure what because I didn't get to listen to all of it because I had just got home from seeing, like I said, the movie. Yeah, what movie? The movie. It's the movie, that movie. No. Yeah, the movie was Sound of Freedom. Hey, Mike, how are you?
Hey, Rick. I don't know if you saw my comment in the chat there, but I liked Sheridan.
Yeah, I
and
saw
everything
it.
already. So,
I was saying a little bit about it and just trying to ramble. This is my, as you know, my Tuesday night chill stream, and well, I come on and we talk about this, that, and everything, and whatever.
yeah, I know. That's part of the reason why I decided to come in because it looked like you needed somebody to at least bounce stuff off of.
Yeah, for a
No,
little
I
bit,
mean,
anyways. I know you probably can't stay too long, but as
well,
long as
I'm tempted because there's a McDonald's near my house here in walking distance, so I'm thinking of going up and grabbing like a sundae and a soda because you know here in Southern California it's been like high 80s, low 90s,
ah,
and I'm in my room most of my day, so
yeah,
you can imagine some of that going on.
yeah,
And I
for
know
sure.
you came in late on. I know you did come in late on my stream. I was already done with the news articles, but one of the
Yeah,
main one I was focusing on was a continuation of that Yamato story I told you about
ah,
from One Piece.
yeah,
So apparently, oh,
yeah. I came
go
in
ahead.
just as you were doing, I think, the close up. That was because I was out seeing a movie.
Okay, yeah,
I went to see Sound of Freedom.
yeah. I heard, I've been hearing people been talking about. I guess it's a movie about human trafficking.
Yeah, more the kids, child trafficking. It's excellent
Also,
movie. I would highly recommend it if it's in your area and you want to go see a movie. I would definitely
I'm
suggest it.
not. Yeah, I'm not really big on. I'm not super big on like movie going.
Yeah,
Granted, I know it's not. I know I have seen some of the headlines where there are a lot of people crashing down on it, particularly from the left.
yeah,
You know, I mean, yes, it would. But for me, if I'm gonna go watch a movie, I'm gonna go watch it. For because I want to watch it, not
yeah.
just to flip the bird to the
Oh,
left.
oh yeah, yeah. I wouldn't say to go see a movie just to flip the bird at the left or whatever. I went to see it because I wanted to see it, and like I just highly recommend it. It is that good. Today's a cheap day for movies. At least in Ontario, usually every Tuesday, movies are like $5 or $10 off, depending on what you're paying normally. Um, but this is like worth the price of full admission any day of the week, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not it's not. I've heard a little bit about it,
Yeah,
but I haven't. Like I
and
said,
it's good.
I'm not a big movie goer to begin with.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So if you're not, like, there's no biggie not going to see it either. Maybe you see it when it comes out on video or when it gets on like Netflix or Amazon or something like that. You know.
if anything, I've just stayed away from most modern stuff to begin with.
Yeah. Well, this is far from woke for sure. It's based on a true story too.
Hmm.
But anyways, you were saying about you were covering. Hey Jeff, how are you? You were saying about you covering a sequel article to an
Well,
article that you.
a follow up story to a story that I've been following. It was the One Piece Yamato story.
Ah,
It's that one story that I was telling you about where there's a particular character in One Piece,
yeah,
Yamato, who's like a half demon, who who basically even the creator, who they're not only their creator, but the creator of the One Piece manga, Eiji Oda, had to actually come out and say, no, Yamato is a female. When you have a particular segment of the fan base that says no, she's a transgender man. So
yeah.
and
Article.
in this latest story that I was covering, so there's a YouTuber named Steve Yerko, who's part of the One Piece podcast, I guess what they call it. Um, so he's somebody who's pushing the theory that she's a transgender male, and there were a lot of people, including another YouTuber by the name of Rev Says Desu, who who is basically calling him out for it, saying, "Hey, look, no, even the creator themselves has said she's female." not transgender male. Now,
Yeah.
supposedly the evidence is they keep pointing to things like, oh, Yamato, even though being a biological female, chooses to bathe with men. You know,
Just because you're a
and
biological female and bathe with men does not make you trans. It just makes you a girl that will
right.
bathe with men.
And that's one of the points I was even making when I was going over the article. It just because just because she chooses to bathe with men, with guys, doesn't make her trans or lesbian or anything like that. Um, the other things that they were saying, of course, was, well, she at times identifies herself, or she uses male pronouns, but that's been explained several times that one, she was born as a male, and I know Metal probably told you this too, but also she's emulating her hero, a warrior by the name of Odin,
Yeah.
Oden. So, you know, none of this stuff makes her transgender. I don't think she even sees herself as transgendered. Okay, she probably sees herself as a woman, and one of the other points I've made is, including knowing somebody in my own life
Yeah.
who is in the situation, there are women out there who do prefer let me say that again, who do prefer the platonic company of men.
Yeah.
Meaning that they have a whole bunch of guy friends that they just like to hang out with.
Yeah. They like to
They're looking
be.
to
They are extremely female in a lot of ways, but they just like to be one of the guys, if you will,
right.
at the same time.
Yeah, that doesn't make them trans either.
No,
Um,
that
so I
makes them
mean,
most a quote unquote tomboy.
but here's a twist to this particular story that I covered. Now I kind of got you caught up on the background of it. So apparently, the art that he decided to critique, the art, because I guess Yurko had posted to Twitter publicly a picture of Yamato in the men's bath, a hot spring bath with where, and you could see her breast right there, a portion of her
Yeah,
breast
yeah.
right there.
I saw the article that you were reading. I think last week, and it showed that picture
Yeah,
several times. And yeah, she's got the
yeah, and yeah,
she.
Lucy coming out of the water, cheering
Uh,
her on and stuff like that. He
uh,
pointed that as, oh,
uh,
that's proof that she's transgender.
as my friend Elric would say, she's got lots of tracts of land.
So, but with that, so since he used that art, he was using that art and critiquing that art that was publicly posted on Twitter.
So he's using art that shows that she's a woman with big boobs to say that she's a man with big boobs somehow.
Okay, that's Yurko. Yurko is using the art to do that. Okay,
Yeah.
the YouTuber who's criticizing him, Rev says Desu, right? He used that picture. He was critiquing that artwork or critiquing that commentary of Yurko and using that artwork, since Yurko was using that artwork to make his argument that Yamato is trans. Okay? So in doing so, Yurko essentially, and you've probably heard this story before too, of people doing this, but Yurko, trying to silence his critics, and in this case Rev says Desu, slapped a false copyright strike on him.
Oh.
Made a false copyright.
False flag.
Yeah. He false flagged him to try to, shut him up basically, and eventually he did get it resolved. It was
Well, that just shows the guy has no.
Basically they took down the strike. They got his video back up and everything.
Yeah. Well, that just shows the guy that false flagged him has no argument and really. So like, but it's easier to shut up your detractors, than actually, answer their You know,
Well, I
their
think
their
even he knew,
critiques of your
he knew
argument.
that he didn't have any grounds because apparently, when he did it, he also like privated all of his accounts. He basically went into hiding where nobody could catch him,
Yeah.
and it's like stupid. And then and from what I read of today's article too on it, here's one of the funniest, if not one of the stupidest takes I've seen on this whole thing yet. So in the video where Yurko, the One Piece podcaster, was making his argument that Yamato was a transgender man instead of a female, right? The headline for his video is Oda is wrong. And I saw that, I'm going, that has got to be one of the stupidest takes I've ever seen. Because how can you be wrong about a character
You create it.
create? That was one of the stupidest, most asinine things I've ever seen.
It's like,
how can you be wrong about a character you create?
yeah, hopefully if you've created the character, you should know them better than anybody else or close to. You know,
Right.
especially for something like that, you know, like if you've created them, you know how you've created them in that sort of way, you know, definitely.
Exactly. You know, I'm thinking this guy Yurko must have his head stuck so up his rear end, and it comes back out to the neck.
Yeah.
And he's got an extra layer of skin there because of it.
Or he certainly got a couple of brass things.
Brass bells in his hair.
No. You know, down below. I think that's his, you know, thing. You know, he's got a set. You know, brass balls.
Well, I think he's got an extra layer of skin on his neck.
He's
got his head stuck. Remember, I said he sounds like he's got his head stuck so far up his rear end.
Yeah.
He's got an extra layer of skin on his neck when it comes back up. So, yeah. So, I'm right now watching you on the Discord screen here. So let's see. Not much. I guess Jeff came in and said, "Yo."
Yeah. Yeah, that was just as we really started talking. Just before we started talking, I said hi back to him. But he hasn't said anything yet. I'm not sure whether Sketchbook's back or not. But
yeah, just because, you know, as I said, I was popping in to say hi and stuff like that. But, as I was covering it, and I realized, okay, you know, because, you know, as you know, I slate a certain number of hours, right?
Yeah.
So for the Sunday and Friday shows or the weekend shows, I try to slate right around 2 hours. And then for the Niche Newscast shows Monday through Thursday, I slate about 1 hour.
Yeah.
And I noticed I was a little over on more of the days earlier on, so that's why I've been trying to get, you know, try to end my shows, you know, in the 50 to 60 minute mark to try to balance the numbers out.
Well, yeah. I would say don't worry so much about that. Yes, you try to go for about the hour. If you go just under or just over, that's all right. Most people won't mind, I will say. You know, it's you want to make sure it just flows naturally when you do it. Like, you know, most of the time this show is 2 hours, right? But you know, like sometimes somebody comes on the end near the end, like Dillard's come on a few times or somebody else, and I've went half an hour extra. You know, like, you know, sometimes people like that.
StreamYard, of course. Yeah, I use.
Oh yeah, you're using StreamYard, so you have to worry about your time in that sense. I get that. And hello,
Aqua. Since I'm broadcasting 6 nights a week now, you know, before when I was doing 5 nights, I could just make everything 2 hours. But even I was thinking of reducing it down because I was having trouble with just doing a newscast format.
Yeah. Do you pay for StreamYards or not?
Yeah, 25.
Yeah, well then actually the time doesn't matter because you have unlimited. That
Well,
20
I
hours.
could go. Well, okay, the 50 hours there is more the storage space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
there's storage space.
in other words, if you go beyond 50 hours and they won't, it's like I guess they won't store it or some of it, or
Well,
so.
are you storing? What are you storing on there? You don't need
Well,
to.
I'm not really sure. What I do is I try to stay within a certain amount of time through the month, and then at the end of each month, I'll like clear everything. I'll clear all the videos. I mean, I still have them up on YouTube, obviously, but
Yeah.
I'll delete the
Yeah. Well,
the
yeah.
broadcast. From.
I was gonna say you don't even really, with them being on YouTube, you don't really need to store them there unless you're gonna download them onto your computer. That way you can go over them for whatever reason.
Well, I may keep them up because some people have thought, well, maybe I should, because of YouTube and some of the
Yeah.
wonky stuff they do, maybe I should either like
Yeah.
broadcast podcasting from other sites
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Twitch or Rumble
Yeah.
or something like that. But
Well.
I'm just so used to the YouTube system
Yeah.
that
Well, obviously you don't want to do it right this second because we're on air and all that. But you can have your Rumble so it syncs up to YouTube. So automatically, whatever you do on YouTube goes over there within a day.
yeah, I mean, I don't
Uh,
even I
and
very rarely
if you
use
want to get together
Rumble.
for
I get what you're saying, but
if you want to get
I
together and like it's only to set it up, it probably takes less than 5 minutes, probably. But if you want to get together sometime.
maybe, but again, I just don't feel like doing that at this point.
Well, yeah. Well, obviously, I said not right now because we're on air. You don't want anybody to see anything, right? So, but I was just gonna say, if sometime you want to
Well,
get to,
even if I did feel like doing that right now, of course I would leave the show here to. I mean, I'm not going to do it while I'm
yeah, live,
conversing with you.
yeah,
Obviously,
yeah. But
if I
I know,
am going to do something like that, I'm going to do it when I have the time to like sit there and
yeah. Well, that's
you
what
know.
I was gonna say. If you want to get together sometime off air and take the 5 to 10 minutes that it would take, I can walk you through it.
Yeah.
And
I'm
then
not
because I know you
again.
have a
It's not
little
something
bit,
I'm really thinking about right now, anyways, Rick. So
yeah,
I mean. At this particular moment, in fact, I'm still thinking about once I get done with you here,
yeah,
going up to
yeah.
McDonald's and just getting myself a sundae and a
Yeah, yeah.
and a soda because it's simple.
And like I said, I'm not talking right this second. I'm talking, in the next week or two or whatever, whatever
If I
time.
should try to do that, yeah, I get it. RJ's done that with me too before. He's helped me out with some stuff too. So, and Aqua says hello. Hello,
Yeah,
Aqua.
yeah. Hello, Aqua. How are you tonight? How was everybody's weekend there? That was hasn't answered that in the
Now,
last couple days.
Aqua, I don't know if you knew this, but there was an actual music group named Aqua. In fact, I think they did the song Barbie Girl, as I
Yes.
recall.
I'm a Barbie girl living in a Barbie world. Life in plastic, so fantastic.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that brings up another sore subject for a lot of people right now, too. You know what I'm talking about, Rick?
The Barbie movie coming out.
Yeah.
I might
I
actually
hear
go
that
see that.
getting roasted. In fact, I hear that Sound of Freedom is kicking the what out of the Barbie film at the box office.
Well, I don't think Barbie's out yet.
Uh,
It's
well, I've
kicking
already
it.
seen some people telling their friend, don't go see this because they're going after your children with this. I mean, I've heard that the Barbie movie is very woke, very indoctrinating.
Uh,
You know, you know.
I might go see it anyways. There's a couple movies I've missed because I heard that. Like I was thinking of going to see Strange Worlds or whatever. It was a Disney one. Apparently there was a very big gay message in it or whatever. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. And then I was thinking of going to see that Elementals one, but again, some people were saying about the whole a bunch of woke stuff in it. So I don't know.
Mhm.
The Barbie
Yeah.
movie actually looks pretty good to me from the trailers I've seen, but as far as I know, it's not out in theaters. I was just at the theater today. I heard about them saying that Sound of Freedom taking the Indiana Jones movies, but and
Oh yeah, that's been going on the last couple of weeks here.
yeah,
In fact, some theaters are actually trying to sabotage that because of it. Aqua acknowledges that they know about, I guess, the band.
yeah,
Um, so, anyways, Rick,
yeah.
I really feel like I want to go grab a sundae and a soda right now. It's just, you
Okay,
know,
well, thanks for joining me. For anything you want to promote before you leave?
well, hopefully I can get people to come on tomorrow. Come watch the show tomorrow night as we'll be doing more niche news. Do the niche newscast. Monday to Thursday, and then Fridays, of course, our historical comic retrospect. This week we got RJ Carter from Critical Blast will be co-hosting with me as we look back to comics that went on sale back in November 1939 from Centaur and David McKay. I believe we'll be looking at Magic Comics #5. Just a quick recap of what's in it and all that, because of course we unfortunately can't seem to find a copy of the actual book. Unfortunately, the David McKay stuff can't seem to find any of their stuff.
Oh, that's
But we
too
will
bad.
be. I still have to figure out which features, but we'll be looking at the Centaur comic, which of course will be like Amazing Man comics, Amazing Mystery Funnies, King Detective Funnies. Um, I think comic pages. The specific features will I still have to figure out, decide upon. But aside from that, you know how it goes, Rick, and you've been co-host on my show before.
Yeah,
You're going to be back with me, of course, next on the 4th, I believe, and on September 1st.
yeah,
So a couple weeks away.
yeah. And that September 1st one is before I start my trek of September for all the cons and festival type things
Yeah,
that I
you'll
go
be
to
out
to promote my
you'll
book.
be out in my neck of the woods, as it were. I'll
Yeah,
probably will try to come by and say hi.
yeah.
Try
That'll
and
be
get over there.
September 16th. Um, at Alpha Omega Con. I'm not sure the address offhand, so but I'll make sure you
Well,
have.
you can know that information as we get closer to it, and then I figure out. You said it was in Whittier, which isn't too far from me. So,
Yeah,
um, and then of course Sunday nights are our panel shows, which you're one of my regular panelists,
yeah.
which we
Oh,
go back over the week's happenings in the world of niche, and of course I just group it all together as niche to make it a lot easier to just to focus it all on one, because traditionally a lot of stuff that I cover, of course, or that we talk about traditionally is niche. Now niche usually just means not mainstream, not the mainstream. You know,
yeah. But some of this has
what
become
we cover with
mainstream.
anime, cartoons, comics, manga, pro wrestling, that kind of thing. Traditionally, those have been, even though in recent years they have become more mainstream, mind you,
Yeah,
but traditionally they're considered niche. So, with that, I thank you for having me, Rick.
yeah.
I
No
will
problem.
talk to you later,
Yeah,
and have a good show, my friend.
yeah. I will. Who's with me? Or was with me is Mike Walters from the Mike Stand sketchbook.
Right. Go ahead.
Oh no, no. My sketchbook was asking who said he was back, and it was asking me who was on with me, and I was just letting him know you were because you were about to leave. So
Okay. Yes, the Mike Stand catch me 6 nights a week, Sundays at 5 for the panel show, weekend edition, and then Monday through Friday at 6, Monday to Thursday, our newscast, and on Friday, the historical comic retrospect. So I'll see you later, Rick.
okay,
Bye.
later, Mike.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so we're back to me. Let's see. Make me big since I'm the only one here. You get to see my face in a bigger style. Okay, I'm a wackadoodle. I must be that nut sandwich you were talking about, Aqua. Okay, so what to go on about now? Seeing as how I lost my person to, I'd say, spar with, but bounce off of. Not that I bounce much. Well, part of me bounces a lot, but um, is that your Joker inspiration impression? Um, no, I don't think so. If it is, it's really good. Laugh out. It's just, it's just my evil laugh. Yes. That's Woody Woodpecker. Um. So, what do I do to keep you guys entertained and myself entertained? Or what do I do to keep myself from going a cuckoo? Cuckoo, cuckoo, loco. Rick is going crazy. Yes, Joshua, I am not going crazy. I've been there for quite some time. Years, in fact. Years beyond years beyond years. Years beyond me being on YouTube. I was already crazy back then. He's finally snapping. Okay, maybe I'm doing that now. Snapping. Yes. 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 Oh, okay, okay. Okay. Are you subscribed? Subscribed to what? Okay, so I'm not sure whether you guys heard me say or whether you guys have heard of these. Um I watched the first episode of two different animes, Seven of Seven and Angel Cop. Um, they were pretty good, not too bad. I've got to get back to watching them. Angel Cop, I liked it, but it had a little bit. Well, not that it usually bothers me, but sometimes when I'm watching that stuff with my mom around, it had a little bit too much swearing in. So, you know, sometimes I just sometimes I don't want to hear my mom go off about swearing sometimes in something like that. But I'd like to watch more. They seem good enough to go past the first episode. I believe I am subscribed to your channel, Aqua. You could put a link to your channel, obviously, there since you've got a ranch. And also, let's be liking this and sharing this and getting this out. We are almost at that 800 mark. At the last time I looked, we were like 6 away. We're having a hard time breaking through. That I've been up to 795, so we're having a little bit of hard time breaking through to that 800. Just a little bit like not quite yet as bad as it was breaking through the 700 wall, but you know, uh, if you guys can do anything for that, feel free. Like by sharing and liking and all that. Of course, I had my vid up today for the bio on my character Messenger, who is an angel who helps out the big guy back here from time to time. Um, I'm not sure whether I'm going to be doing any more bios like that because they were based off of a little bit of the cards I did, but I guess I could do it. It's just getting a lot of images and all that for that. Um, are you guys liking those little bio things that I do on my characters for the shorts? And then, of course, uh, I've gotta make up a couple of other. I'm gonna be probably putting out in the next day or two. Not a short for it, but like a 5 to 10 minute video for page 24 of Canadian Shield 1 Remastered, because that page is done. I'm just going to go over a few other pages. Just let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages I need to go over and do a couple minor alterations on some of the lighting and shading. I don't think there's anything else for that. And then I'm just going to do the resize and then put all the dialogue in. Me and Metal went over a couple weeks ago the dialogue for Canadian Shield 1, so it should all be fixed. All the wording should be fixed perfect. Of course, I'm going to get him to go through it a couple times to make sure after I get it in. 5 away. I'm 5 away now? I was 4 or 6, whatever. Let's see. My channel, let's go. YouTube's. I do one of my channel. Okay, I'm 5 away. Cool. Cool. Yabba dabba doo. Yabba dabba doo. Scooby dooby doo. Awesome. 5 away. We need to break those last 5. Obviously. Okay, I have no idea what that is. So that's Korean, though, I do believe. I could be wrong about that. It looks Korean from what I've seen of Korean lettering, wording, whatever. What shall we talk about? What can we finally talk about? Want to talk? What happens when you get 5 more? I'm at 800. Hey, JR, how are you? You're just back from Sound of Freedom? Well, I got back about an hour ago from Sound of Freedom. Chinese. Actually, it can't be Chinese. It can only be Mandarin or I forget the other one that's in China. There is no Chinese language. They speak Mongolian, Mandarin, and something else. So, did you go see Sound of Freedom today because it's cheap day there in Alberta to go to the theaters? That's why I went to see it today. Spend a little less money. Although, I must say, it would have been worth full price. Any day of the week. Cantonese. Yeah. Mandarin and Cantonese. So is it Mandarin or Cantonese there, Aqua? So what did you think of Sound of Freedom, JR, since you just got back? I speak Francais. Yes, cheap day. $9 a ticket, 19 for popcorn and pop. I don't know. Yeah, well, it cost me like 10 and change with taxes. Well, no, it was $8. Sorry, it was $8 each. $7.99, $8 each plus taxes. Me and my mom went to see it. We didn't get pop or popcorn, but we did spend $20 for a pop, a fry, and a poutine. Before we went in, we ate most of it before we went in. We finished it up just waiting the 4 or 5 minutes from going in to waiting, because they had a snack, that one of the snack things. There's the main snack thing at the one that I was at, plus a few others. Okay, so that confirms it, or most likely confirms it. There is cheap day all over Canada, at least Ontario and Alberta. I can't say for sure for the other provinces, but not bad. That's not a bad deal. Is that for a large popcorn and pop? And are they refillable or not? I know here they used to be. Cineplex no longer does that. It was professional, well told, and filmed. I feel like its meaning lies outside the surface level of its text. Yeah, yeah. Did you stay and watch the special message afterwards? You know that you had to wait like 2 minutes for, 2.5 minutes for. Like it's just a mid-credit scene, right? Although it wasn't so much a scene, but um, the actor of Tim talking. Yeah, I hadn't been to the movie since before COVID. Uh, yeah, yeah. The We have one here called Landmark. Yeah, I watched the message. Oh, cool. We have, I think Landmark's out there too, but we have a movie franchise here called Landmark Cinemas or something to that effect. Um, they're not as big as Cineplex, obviously. Um, they before COVID had uh, the refill on them, and they took them. I think during COVID, I've heard that they took them away. I don't usually buy pop and popcorn, especially if it's not going to be refillable because it's just too much money. Although $10 I guess isn't too bad, especially if it's a large one. Large on both of them because unless yeah, I feel like no one who watches this movie in even 20 years will understand the underlying message. Yeah, very possible. And the worst part, well, yeah, the worst part in a lot of ways is that, yeah, I had snacks because I hadn't had a movie popcorn in 3 years. Yeah, I can get that. I can get that. I've bought pop when I've been at the movie theater when I was extremely thirsty and I didn't have my backpack to go to or wasn't able to get to like a Dollarama to put some pop and popcorn in or whatever that I buy there. Yeah, I think there's a lot of different messages that you can get out. Obviously, child trafficking is not good, but I think there's a couple other things that you might be able to get out of this too. I'm not going to say on air, but um, but I definitely think it was well worth the money. I can't wait till it comes out on video. Me and my mom are going to buy it when we see it. I do feel like it's really a shot in the culture war and the word pedo almost meaning the same as Nazi. Yeah, they have meant that for quite some time. Usually it's been, although unfortunately both words have in the last, well, Nazi a little bit sooner, but has lost all its meaning because you're going around calling everybody it, and like when they're not it, not even close. Hey Timothy, hey Sketchbook. Don't trust beautiful Colombian women. That's what I saw, says my sketchbook. We're just talking a little bit about Sound of Freedom. Um, Tim, I got back about an hour ago, or just over an hour ago from seeing it, and Jr. said about 10 minutes ago or so that he just got back from seeing it. Uh, yeah, I am embarrassed to say I watched. I think that might be a lot cow channel, laugh out loud cow channel. Okay, I'm not sure what that channel is. Um, and then the other word there is lost meaning, just because people are, how do I say this? Not caring whether somebody does that. Although in some ways, you still have to treat the person that does that with love, and as a Christian, I say this, love and compassion in some sort of sense. You know, because as much as, yeah, it says about the millstone and all that in scripture, I think we are to show them true love so they can change, hopefully, through Christ. But I'm not sure why I said but what are you talking about? I don't know. Jason, Sound of Freedom, Joshua. There are two locales I follow. Both are mentally challenged white men. Both are accused by mobs as pedos. Ah, yes, locale. Oh, obviously, I don't think you mean that's their channel name. They're just the locale stance or something, doesn't it? So, if anybody out there wants to come on, feel free. Don't know what we'll talk about, but I'm sure we'll think of something. um, Gotten just under an hour so far. Got another hour to go, just over an hour to go. We're supposed to be 2 hours here. Um, Trying to wing it the best I can. A locale is someone who people make fun of. Okay. Um, what is there to talk about? Um, so by September, I should be getting my ticket to go down to John's. Obviously, I gotta get that by the beginning of September because I'm leaving probably on like the 10th of this month. Locales are the locales are Chris Chan and Chance Wilkins. Both are tormented by trolls on YouTube. Both accused of it's a way of drumming up hate. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm tormented by trolls too. I know how they feel. Okay, probably not quite like they feel. Their trolls are probably a little bit nastier than mine, or a lot nastier. Hey, Sketchbook, how are you?
I'm okay. My volume was a little high. When you said hey, it's like rung my ears.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's not your fault. That was my fault. I didn't know my headset was still that high. What are you up to?
Just doing my chill stream, talking about this, that, whatever. Trying to figure out what to talk about to do, I guess.
Talk
We're,
about comics, man. Nobody talks about comics enough. Everybody wants to talk about other topics.
well, me and
I
JR were
mean,
talking a little bit about Sound of Freedom, and well, we got onto a couple channels that he watches.
yeah, I liked the movie. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a
Uh, uh,
it's a simple movie. It's not as like complex as people want to make it out to be,
yeah. Well,
or
it's
as how they
uh,
advertised it to be. It's not that complex.
yeah. Well, how complex can it be? It's about some events in a person's life. You know, not that people's lives can't be complex at times, but you know, in some ways it's simple, and there's some other things that I think you could get from it. But
Hmm. Well, according to Jim Caviezel, we didn't even get like a glimpse into what
yeah,
Tim actually knows and has done,
yeah,
and that's because Tim doesn't disclose everything, at
yeah,
least not to like
yeah,
interviewers for movies.
yeah. And as you said, this was filmed like 5 years ago too.
Hmm. Well, it had to have been because there's no way that Disney or anybody would have let that
Uh,
be.
JR says, "Do you really think that there are more slaves now than ever?"
Yes, that's
Uh,
actually a proven statistic.
he said, "I don't. I believe there could easily be. You know, uh, obviously you said the statistic, but you
Well,
know,
here's the thing: the Arabic countries have had slaves since like the dawn of time, and they've never stopped having slaves.
yeah. And there's probably African countries that still have it, and then of course there's the the trafficking, the kidnapping of people and all that, kids and all that in South America. There's probably some in South America, other slave stuff too, not like the kid
Hmm.
stuff. Well, in that movie, you when you go in, and I don't really want to give too much away, but when you go into the the cartel area, if you will, there's lots of people there. Are they there by free will, or are they because they can't leave? You know what I mean?
Well, those are their that's their home. They live there, but the rebels, and I say that in air quotes, because they're actually cartels, dealers. They take over their lands because they know that they could hold those lands, and the government won't go in there looking for them because it's
Uh,
all what's it called woodline and stuff like that. It's too much risk for them to go in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because well, you see where the one girl was stomping, whatever that stuff was. There was a whole bunch of other women there too, which were probably all slaves or like her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
yeah. So there was all sorts of other people around, picking flowers or whatever it was they were picking. Um, that again were probably slaves. And JR says, do you really think they are functioning Peter Hotel places like that function over a long time? And he said, inside America, I mean, I believe it might happen in ungovernable parts of Latin America. Joshua says Epstein Island. Well, Epstein
I,
Island, I don't think was actually in the U.S. I think it was just
no, it
outside.
wasn't the U.S. But what you need to realize is that there's a lot of these private clubs, and we don't know what goes on in there. And a lot of these people are lawyers, so they know the workarounds.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Uh,
not trying
uh,
to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but you could just look up organized crime in the United States and see how it functions, and it functions in basically the same manner as these these special clubs. They do the same thing. So
Yeah,
there's workarounds. Just because they say that they're a private organization that doesn't do this or doesn't do that doesn't mean that what they say is true. You know what I mean? They
yeah. Well, you never know. Like, what's although I don't think this is in the U.S. Listening to Mark Dicer's that the thing, the Grove or whatever.
Oh no, that's been proven that that
Yeah,
actually happens.
yeah, that happens, but you know, I'm not sure whether that's in the U.S. or not. It may be.
It is in
Uh,
the U.S. It's in California.
yeah, but
Yeah, Alex Jones was the one that snuck in and took.
yeah, but my point is, if they can have that sort of thing going on and the stuff there, why can't other people have the same sort of setup for other stuff throughout the U.S. or
Oh
Canada?
yeah, they 100% do. And
You know,
yes, they do have it in third world countries because
yeah,
it's much easier to pay off the government there. Like it's openly corrupt. It's not like you know, first world countries where you have to prove that
he
you're
said,
not corrupt.
Jr. says, okay, that I don't believe. What exactly? People would snitch and destroy any organization that's doing that long term, but they have to find out about it. And just because you hear whispers, again, it's getting the goods, just like the Grove thing that Mark Dice.
They often disguise themselves as a philanthropic corporation or organization
Yeah,
where the
they present themselves usually as a decent stuff. Like most of the most of the people that are into stuff like that, you walk down the street, you talk to them in a day to day basis, you probably wouldn't know because they
yep,
seem so
yep.
decent.
hmm And that's the thing. Like many people don't understand. They're like, oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist and this and that. Like, no, like
Yeah,
you can tell.
yeah. In some ways, could it be? Sure, I think easily sure. Is it? That's the different question for me sometimes. You know,
Mhm.
I could see it easily being true in a lot of ways, but I could easily see it not being true just as much. So I get where JR is coming from, and a lot of things that we don't, in some ways, we don't really want to believe that it's that as bad as it is too.
It's a hard subject to talk about because nobody wants to actually, like, it
Yeah,
turns normal people's stomach to hear it, especially
yeah,
if you have kids. But it is something that does need to be talked about.
yeah. JR says long-term pedo conspiracies are a Christian conspiracy theory that has been active all throughout the Middle Ages. Well, I don't know about that. And then I guess it
But
depends on
you
where you
gotta
go
okay.
go in the
This
world
is
too,
this is my
because
this is my answer to this. If you know anything about history, if you know anything about past societies, you'll see that there was an acceptable amount of adult male to young male relationships. I mean, in
yeah,
Greece, you find where they could literally pay to
yeah, and
basically
but
groom their kid, and then they would give them stature and stuff like that. But these things were openly discussed in their societies.
yeah,
We,
and it was
because of,
part of
of
and
Christendom,
it was also
have
part of
have.
their culture back then.
Mhm.
You know,
But I mean, if you don't believe that these things can go on forever, how long did the Catholic Church do it before they were actually outed with proof? I mean, everybody was making jokes of it and talking about it, and people assumed that almost every priest was like that. But that's the thing; it was nothing but hearsay until there was proof,
yeah,
and that's what people don't seem to realize. Oh, well, they can't, function at long period of time.
yeah.
People would
Well,
know. Like, just because
uh,
people know doesn't mean that they have the proof to bring you down.
yeah. Well, I think of Law and Order (SVU). Look at the different quote unquote rings like that were widespread that they
Yeah,
broke
and
down
a lot of those stories are
based on
based on
reality.
actual, yeah, on real cases.
Yeah,
They changed the names and stuff like that for protection, but Yeah, a lot of that has to do with things
Yeah.
they actually found.
Yeah. JR says at the time of the Black Death, sexual perversion cult accusations were wild. Yeah, I can believe that. But the other thing too that we have to remember is in compared to our society, a lot of societies, I think back, you go back what 200 years ago and more, even some today that oh, girls, women, whatever you want to say, when they're like 13, 14, 15, are being married off. So
Mhm.
obviously the young ones that are like 9 and 10, that's even go would be too far in most of their cultures. But you know, a lot of
Not,
cultures have it where like shortly
not in
after
that one religion, right? Not in that one religion that people can't talk about on YouTube, right?
yeah,
Because their prophet did that.
yeah. But there's a lot of like Japanese culture. I think they can get married at 14 or whatever, something like that. Back
Mhm.
in probably Canada and the States, I think it was 14 or something like that. Back, like
Well, yeah,
200 years ago.
at some point it was legal in the United States to actually marry your cousin.
Yeah.
In England, they're still doing that. We just call them the royals.
So it's definitely you know we somebody today that does something to a 14-year-old, we call them that word, you know but is it in some way, I'd be because of culture for the last 6,000 years, well maybe not quite 6,000, but we'll say 2 to 4,000 years of they've been marrying off girls, women at that age, or either marrying off or they've been marrying at that age. Uh, JR says, yeah, adolescence in the 19th century European creation. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean. Obviously, it has something to do with what we were saying, or I was saying, but it's interesting. Well, it's it's a you know it gets you thinking. I'm not sure whether it gets you thinking. I'm not even sure what I'm trying to say at this point. Most of the world would marry cousins to keep the dowry money inside families. Yeah, I can believe that. Um, but anything specific you were thinking about when you were saying talk about comics?
Tell me about this character in the fourth issue. I haven't had a chance to read that. I mean, unless you don't want to disclose anything.
You're getting married. Good night, Spoon. You're getting married. He's like, what? Who? Where? Why? um,
Right?
Rick is married. No, I am not, Joshua. Okay, so the fourth issue Canadian Shield you're talking about, and I take it you're talking about Frogger,
Yes.
the villain. Well, I do have a bio on him actually. It's probably up on my thing website. I know he was once a French chef, but something got delivered to his restaurant that wasn't supposed to be. And okay, where is my? I can't get my cursor. Give me a sec.
One sec. There.
Oh, Control Alt Delete. Okay, cancel. There, we got our. Everybody still here?
I am.
Okay.
And that's
But
what
he
matters.
he got some sort of thing delivered, and he put it on some frog legs that he had made for himself. He ate it, and it sort of transformed him. And now he's out to try to get everybody that was involved. And one of the people, the delivery man, he is in Ontario, so he's after him, and the Canadian Shield has to stop him from trying to take out this poor delivery driver.
You
Like,
sound like freaking the UFC former UFC champ. He's Canadian. George St. Pierre. That's his name.
I'm just trying to do the French accent. Most people would work and marry as children, says JR. Rick don't, says Goodnight Spoon. JR also said, maybe the idea you should not get a job and not have sex between 14 and 20 is adolescence. Yeah. Um, Goodnight Spoon says, who am I supposed to be marrying, Rick? I don't know. JR said, oh my god, you've got a French chef villain who's a frog as a villain? Yes. You can't see my screen. Yes, and I did it on purpose, JR. JR.
Of course, that was on purpose.
Okay. Should be able to see my screen. Well, I'm not showing you my whatchamacallit. Goodnight Spoon says he worked as a child. I can't see your screen. He has to be part of the conspiracy to destroy Canada by French Jesuits, says JR. Timothy says,
No,
speaking French.
that would be a heck of a villain.
Goodnight Spoon says, did you mention make iPhones in China? Asked Joshua. And Timothy puts in a link for his sign up for Melvin 3, which launches in 11 days or less than, or just over 10 days. No, Rick, read it again. Speaking French accent. Read what again? Sheesh. Goodnight Spoon says, hey, Rick, so tell us about the frog. uh, Goodnight Spoon, did you make iPhones in China? Which one do you want me to reread? Whose comment? Okay. Frogger. His real name is Pierre Desprance. He is former European French chef. Oh, speaking of French accent, SD says thing. Timothy puts up his sign up link. No, I wrote and reviewed patents for an American inventor. I also did his taxes for $2 an hour. And Pierre is supposed to be married, but we don't say his wife's name or whatever. So here we go for Pierre, his history. Pierre grew up in the city of Paris, France, where he quickly came to enjoy all his country had to offer in food, and this gave him the desire to become a famous chef one day. So with this, he starts to attend and learn all he can about cooking and foods. when he is in chef school after high school, he meets the woman of his dreams. No, she's not like Beetlejuice. Uh, Parlez-vous français? Something. Aqua says something in French. I'm not sure. Something about, I guess, speaking French. Goodnight Spoon says, hey, Rick again. And says, I was supposed to tell you that whatever I said I was doing, I am no longer doing. Okay. Timothy says, is she like Beetlejuice? No. The woman of his dreams, they fall in love and get married. But to be together, he has to move to Canada, where she is from. Due to all his training, he easily gets a prestigious front a job at a prestigious French restaurant and quickly becomes the head chef. One day, some frog legs are delivered to the restaurant, but it is okay. You didn't put something on them. They come from somewhere, some laboratory frogs that have been experimented on, chopped up and given away. Delivered to the restaurant, but it is unknown where they came from. As not to give the customers an inferior product, he makes some of the legs for himself. He ate them, and all seemed good, save for that night as he lay in bed and began to transform. Waking up, he sees his new look, and he knows he can never have a normal life again. He swears to find out who did this and to get revenge. And for them to turn him back into his original self. Experimental frog legs, says JR. Timothy says he serves her sunny side up, if you know what I mean. That is what she said. Frogger, powers and skills. Frogger is a metahuman. My grammar is bad. Frogger and metahuman. I guess he's supposed to has metahuman jumping ability and above human strength levels. Being all his life, he has trained as a chef and has no fighting abilities or knowledge. So does that answer your questions? Or do you have any other questions? Hey, Metal, how are you?
Metal, what's up, buddy? That answers some of my questions. That's actually kind of cool.
Although I guess since he's on the run looking for people, his wife's just in the lurch. Not maybe she knows what's happened. Maybe she doesn't. I don't know. I obviously did not cover that in the little bit of history. Timothy says Frogger has the ability to consume quarters. Metal said he was stopping by to say hi and leave a like. Well, thank you, Metal. And he does the dab. Rick, is this debauchery? Is what debauchery? And Joshua says fake metal. Oh yeah, that is a fake metal. Because that metal does not have a wrench. And the real metal is the only one on my channel at this point to have managing mod.
Timothy, are you pretending to be Metal again?
Metal, Joshua says, Metal never says hi and leaves a like. Bertha. Hey, Bertha. So, any other questions that I probably cannot answer about Frogger?
How does he cross paths with the Canadian Shield? How are we gonna? Well, I guess that would be too much. Yeah.
Well, that is in the script, so. It's your girlfriend. No, it's not. No, I can never beat Metal, says Timothy. But well, he ends up crossing. Well, I use the staple. Well, I guess. Well, not staple, but most comic books have two fights with the villain.
The introduction fight and then the main fight. You could go for three too. You could have the introduction, the one where the good guy loses, and then the climax fight.
Yeah. Describe the scene how Frogger meets the Canadian Shield. Well, the scene is right near the beginning of I think the comic book, the book. Canadian Shield is in a diner finding out what a cheeseburger is, and then some douchebag in the restaurant decides he's going to
So another French Canadian.
no no some idiot in the restaurant thinks he's gonna just pick on the Canadian Shield because he's sitting there in this Canadian flag suit, so he's got to be the bully, and oh, look at the guy in the Canadian flag suit, you know try to make fun of him. I guess he's not a proud Canadian.
So a Trudeau voter.
Yeah. But some hillbilly or whatever. I'm thinking of. I might throw it in to be one of the Raven crew from the Snowdrift book. That the four one of the four guys that uh you know robs the joint and sticks them into the thing. But he's supposed to be. I think he's supposed to be somewhat of a local that the waitress knows, and she basically says, "Stop bothering the guy, you moron." And then he ignores her, and that's what really perturbs Canadian Shield. At that point, Canadian Shield sort of turns around and stands up, and suddenly this guy's sort of face to face with 18 or 8 foot guy built like a brick house. You know, suddenly he realizes maybe I've made a mistake in picking on this guy. And at that point, he runs out the door, trying to get away from Canadian Shield. Not the Canadian Shield's really going to do much to hurt him or whatever. But, this guy's just, almost shitting his pants. He runs out the door and ends up running right into Frogger. And, of course, screams, which, brings the Canadian Shield's attention to what's outside, Frogger outside. And, that's how they meet. Because Canadian Shield goes outside and then something, sort of a battle ensues. JR said scenes where characters meet can be iconic. Yeah. That's not real Goodnight Spoon. There's a fake Goodnight Spoon. Not to my knowledge, Goodnight Spoon. JR says, yeah, you develop existing characters where you can and then add depth and open opportunities to show character. So that's basically their first meeting, their first battle, if you will. So what do you? Well, I didn't say battle, but I got up to where they met. The beginning of their battle, about to be their battle.
Could be, kinda, maybe, sorta.
So with that said, what do you? Although you
I'm
will,
liking
of
it so
course, read
far.
this in the comic.
Sounding good so far.
Who wins the first battle?
Well, obviously it can't be Canadian Shield.
Well, I guess it might depend on how you define win too. Rick, do you want a hint about your serial imposter? Yeah, sounds good. Says JR. Let's see. Dogs. Let's see. I have to go to the the script to figure out who wins.
That's just because you've written so much material already
Yeah.
with other characters and things like that.
Yeah, everybody's always making fun of Canadian Shield in this suit. I think Rick's on autopilot. It says, good night, Spoon. I think it's more ends up being a stalemate. Frogger sort of hits him once, and that doesn't really go good for his fist. So he's like, "I ain't fighting you." Gets out of there. And because the guy hasn't really done anybody any harm, the idiot plowed into him. He didn't do anything to the idiot. So he just lets him go.
But that's what Rick wants us to think. Then when you read the book, they start duking it out.
Uh,
Frogger talks about Canadian Shield's mom and son.
pay,
Like
pay,
French people do. They like to insult people.
page 8, page 8, panel 1. Canadian Shield bursting through the diner's door. Panel 2. Canadian Shield on the sidewalk looking around. Canadian Shield says, "You demonic creature, stop torturing these people." Frogger's like, "You talking to me, Flag Boy?" Ribbit. I just added in the ribbit. Are you Pokemon Aqua? Says Joshua. Goodnight Spoon says the mystery of the serial imposter shall be forever remained unsolved. TM. Says Goodnight Spoon. And Joshua said Rick is one of them making all these fake accounts. No. A Canadian Shields. Yes, I'm talking to you, you foul creature of the underworld. Because, you've seen Frogger, and I think some other people have. For somebody like Canadian Shield, that's exactly what he would probably think about Frogger.
Yeah, but I mean, is Quebec that bad that it's the underworld?
Hey, I never even said they were in Quebec.
Well, I
At
mean,
the French restaurant. There are other places that speak French in Canada, obviously not as insistent as Quebec.
Quebec or Quebec, as they like to
Yeah,
call it.
but he came back with his wife from France, so who knows where she was living.
That's what I mean. Who else would want to go to France other than Quebec?
I think a lot of English speakers do. Some poor soul thinking, "Oh, it's the city of romance."
So when are you booking your ticket to France?
I'm not. Why does Canadian Shield hate Frogger the video game? He doesn't. He hasn't even heard of it. Goodnight Spoon says Quebec is the Louisiana of Canada.
I don't know who's being insulted there at that point.
Yeah. Frogger responds to, first, buddy, I ain't no creature of the underworld or demonic thing. And second, I'm not torturing anyone. Yet! JR says Quebec has used its mobsters to kill the head of one of New York's 5 mob families. Then we're on to page 9, panel 1, and Canadian says, I heard the scream and your appearance. Frogger says, yeah, the scream was from seeing my appearance, I presume. Panel 2, Canadian Shield. However, all that aside, you said you were not torturing anyone yet. Are you planning on doing so? Frogger, I don't see how that would be any of your business. Joshua's, what's that supposed to mean? What's what supposed to mean? There are Canadian mobsters, says Goodnight Spoon. Yes, there are. Canadian Shield. I feel you planning on hurting someone. My grammar's probably all bad here. I feel that if you are planning on hurting someone, that is my duty to stop you. Frogger says, well, nobody is gonna stop me from getting my revenge on the people that made me this way. And then Frogger says in panel 4, especially a guy in a Canadian flag suit. JR says, 2 Quebec mobsters. T.O., not the number 2. Frogger leaps towards the Canadian Shield. Towards the Canadian Shield's arms. Oh, leaps towards the Canadian Shield's arms and fist first. JR, Montreal is mob-controlled port. And then we got panel 10. Frogger fist slamming against the Canadian Shield's chest. Frogger clenching his fists between his legs. Oh! Joshua says, well, he's not torturing anyone yet, so it's all good. Goodnight Spoon says, I don't think 2 people are enough to call it a mob. Frogger in panel 3 goes, frig, that kills! I think it might be broken. What the frig are you made of? Titanium? Canadian Shield responds, as everybody, I'm made of flesh and blood. However, if you are injured, maybe you should go to the hospital. Frogger responds, frig you, Shield boy, I'm out of here. And after those who made me this way, and thinking to himself, plus this guy is way too tough for me, and I'm not stupid enough to take him on unless I have to. And then the next 2 panels are Frogger leaping away into the distance. Canadian Shield thinks, should I go after him? I know not whether he is guilty of any crimes, and he has not hurt anyone, or tried to. Well, maybe you don't know about that, to my knowledge, basically to his knowledge. Otherwise, the police would have taken him into custody. Mighty Geek says, then a sniper takes out the bad guy. Joshua said, wow, he said frig? Is that allowed? Yes, it is. It's my comic book. JR said, Google Risotto family, Montreal. Goodnight Spoon says, there's no risotto in Canada. They are the hit team uncovered by Donnie Brasco.
Yeah.
And then Canadian Shield says a little bit in a voice. Well, with this, I guess I'll let him go for now, and I'll go finish my meal. So that's a little bit of that comic, a prelude, but that's like 2 comics away. Uh, Good Night Spoon says, "What does a Canadian hit team look like? Dude in hockey pads?" No. Good Night Spoon. Okay. Anything other maybe questions or anything else we might want to talk about?
Not me.
Because we got about another 25 minutes to go here. So, what you heard? Are you liking this comic so far?
Well, I haven't read it. That's why I kind of wanted you to fill me in while I'm flatting the piece here still.
Ah,
I just finished the planet, and I got to fill in part of the letters and then work on Mr. Shield himself.
he will get that, Jr. He will get that. We got to get him back in Hamilton first. And who knows? Maybe he'll end up with sort of a love interest before that. Maybe not his ultimate love interest, but maybe. I don't know. I don't
Poor
know.
girl.
He has an origin, a nemesis. Where is the love interest? I don't think he has a nemesis yet. Absorb might become one. Toxico is definitely not one. You need a love triangle.
Well, since that's kind of hard, since Canadian Shield's a believer, so those really don't happen among them, unless you're in a Baptist church. But that's another story for another time.
Frogger isn't a nemesis? No, not even close. Frogger is an
Villain of the week.
annoyance.
He's villain of the week, isn't he?
Yeah.
Way to go, Rick. You gave me villain of the week.
Well, for most of my characters, for the first year and a half type of what I was thinking, they're all villain of the
Villain of the week.
weeks. Eventually, some will
Make
will
more appearances.
yeah. Like Sunset, I think actually gets 2 appearances in Snowdrift in the first year and a half. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, Timothy's Toxico is one of the better villains. You barely know my villains. Good Night Spoon says, Rick, I was thinking of visiting the Royal Canadian Geographical Society to witness the great James Cameron contribution to science. Okay. If you say so. Let's see. I wanna look at Canadian Shield here and see summary of the first 6. Autopilot is this thing. Says Okay, for Canadian Shield, his first year and a half of how dare you say something nice about Rick's characters? I know about Toxico. Yes, you do. Let's see. Of course, Toxico Absorb is number 3. Frogger is number 4. 5 is Dust. 6 is Dust Angel. And both of those characters will be appearing in several of the comic books. It's Dust is a drug dealer, and Dust Angel is the demon that protects him. Toxico is life, says Timothy. Ultraviolet, again, she's another character that's going to appear in several of my comic books, actually all of them. At this point, this will be her 3rd appearance. That's in issue 7. 8th has Metamorph. 9th has Fearmaster, which actually is his her second appearance. Aqua's saying grass for some reason. The 10th issue brings Thunder and Lightning. The 11th has Capricorn. The 12th has The Ant, which is basically an evil version of Iron Man. 13 is Cancer. 14th is Dragon Breath. Ooh, now Dragon Breath might actually be a challenge. Same with Thunder and Lightning. They might be a little bit of a challenge. No, Ant. A-N-T. Take out that U. 15th is Dr. Insect. No, Tim, don't worry. It already happened. Is Aqua going to spam the ant? No. 16th is Aerostar. Then 17th is Bat Black and Black Bat. 18th is Dark Force, who's appeared somewhere before. So he has no Canadian Shield has no repeat villains there. In the first year and a half. Well, no repeat in his. The repeat from other comics. Or will be repeats in others. I don't know who I'm going to be making. I think Absorb will eventually be part of his quote-unquote rogues gallery. A Canadian Shield villain. He's still there?
Yeah.
Well, eventually I'm also creating a character called Anti-Shield, which is sort of like my Ultraman to Superman. I'm going to do sort of my crime syndicate.
Oh, yeah.
For the Holy Warriors. I've got like 3 or 4 different versions of evil warriors. There's the unholy warriors, there's the evil warriors, and the dark warriors.
Oh, your heroes got their work cut out for them.
Yeah. You were supposed to create a monster squad. I am going to eventually. I still have that around somewhere. I haven't done much with it. Good night, Spoon. And how would you know that, Good night, Spoon? That was talked about when a guy named Evan Hotep was around, the mummy. He's, I think, the guy that inspired it. You weren't around then, Goodnight Spoon, or were you? I'm
Good night,
sorry.
Hotep. Evan Spoon.
Goodnight Spoon says, I'm psychic. Your sidekick? Can Canadian Shield play Dungeons and Dragons as a send up of satanic panic? Um,
He plays Final Fantasy with I'm of the Meadow, and then, but instead of being called Man Like Cougar, they call him Rick Piper.
don't dead name, says Joshua. I didn't dead name anyone. But I have informant, says Goodnight Spoon. Um, I'm not sure whether he will or not yet. Some of my characters might or whatever. I have no quote unquote qualms with it. Technically, I've played it now. I've also played the with Metal Final Fantasy version of that. And to me, I've just come to say that sort of thing, role playing games, done on paper, is a video game on paper. Secret agent, says Goodnight Spoon. But I might. It depends on whether it is good for the script or whatever. Actually, that might end up be more in. Although they're not a friend, my character, the Wiz, he is in high school. I think it's high school, or maybe just before high school. I forget how old he's. Well, no, he'd have to be before high school because he's not. I don't think he's 14 yet.
Yeah.
Whatever. But yeah, he's not in grade 9 yet when I first start. But so there's a group of kids that are. I have them all on the debate team, although they don't necessarily all get along. I wanted to do something different than a sports team. Um, but maybe I could have a couple of them get into some sort of D&D type thing. Joshua says, "No, it's demonic, Rick." Because the fellow students that I'm going to be showing mainly are not going to be Christians for that. So, you've seen Frogger, right? A few times, or do you remember? Good.
No, let me look him up right now. Let me look up your
Oh, here,
website.
here. I should be
I
able to do it a little easier than you. I think I.
I look up your website so much it just literally pops up when I put CR.
Well, that's a good thing. Here,
I
let
see
me.
him right here.
Uh,
Do you not have a profile on him?
yeah, right there. See? You might
He's
have to
not.
go down a little bit to see that. I'm not sure debating superpowers. They they're not debating superpowers. They're just a debate team in high school. Rick, that's a lizard. I know he doesn't look very frog-like.
Here, let me see what you're looking at because I click on it and it doesn't show me anything. He
Uh,
looks like an armored frog.
Pardon?
That one picture of Steve. He looks like an armored frog.
Yeah. JR says, how old are you, Rick? Did you play the arcade Frogger? He was 1984 circuit. Yeah, I was 11. Well, depending on what time in 1984, of course.
He almost looks like more like a salamander from the face, right there. Not a
But
frog.
I was 10 at the beginning of 1984 and I turned 11. He looks like Mortal Kombat Reptile says.
Why does your website always do this to me?
I don't know.
Like only certain ones will it let me. There we go. I had to refresh it to get it to do that. Okay, I see.
Let's see. Characters. I've got a few other pics of them. He's a villain. Let's go into villains. I'll show you an original look for him. Sort by type. In a second here. Let's see. Let's take that down. Let's go Clip Studio. So here is. I think this was. No. Here's what I originally had him looking like. Now it's going to get squished a bit. That ratio might be a little off. Atari Frogger was a couple years later Activision first big game, I think. Yeah. But yeah, I played the original Frogger when it was out. Maybe not in 84, but I would have played it. I played it on Commodore. I played it on either Atari and probably Coleco. I'm not sure whether, and I think I probably played it in the arcade when
I
they
think I
made
played it in there. Yeah.
when they made the first third-party games. So I'm not sure whether you're looking at what I'm showing now.
No, I can't see what you're looking at.
Oh, you can't. Oh, you
Uh-uh.
can't see it here in Discord. Oh,
Nope.
I know why.
Your camera.
Yeah, let's see. Start virtual camera.
Ah.
So that was the original look that I had for Frogger.
Do frogs have webbed feet though? I have to look them up.
I think
That
they did.
actually looks cool for a different character.
So
But I like the whole French face with the little mustache and the teeth sticking out.
but then I had did this drawing. I don't know when. Here.
Hmm.
And I thought, that would look good for Frogger. So then I, ended up.
That's a pretty good drawing.
So then I ended up remaking it a couple times. Yes, frogs have web feet. Toads, open toed, says JR. Good Night Spoon says this looks better than the lizard. Frogs don't have tails. Yeah, I know. Well, as tadpoles, they do, sort of. So, I don't know. But I have recently, although these pictures don't show it, I've taken the tail off. Hey, could you do me a favor? I don't know, maybe. I won't say yes till I know what it is. Like, because this, it doesn't look like there's. I have this whole picture somewhere. I'm not sure where at the moment. The one that's on the web page. You can say I still. Okay, let's come back to Discord and do my camera. Because otherwise we have Inception. I forget that on um, Tuesday nights I usually just have my camera on what's the name in Discord here. That way I can show both parties or all parties in the Discord. Hmm.
Have you ever had frog legs?
No.
You know, you should buy some and eat some whenever you launch this book. Make sure you don't get the ones that he ate, though. You don't need to turn it into a frog
Yeah.
for a
Or frog
campaign.
or frogish, yeah. Good night spoon says this seems like a trap. JR says, can we do a chat poll calling for a quick Frogger head redesign?
Oh, I still gotta draw it out for that. I gotta do a character sheet and everything for him for Canadian Shield, and have it approved by Rick. But I'm probably gonna stream a lot of that or make videos and put it on my channel.
Oh, that's
Anything
good.
that Rick approves, so that way we have material to push the book. Because
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you can anything you're doing for the book, you can make videos or stream it.
well, yeah, except for anything that is gonna give away the major plot of that
Oh,
that issue.
well, you're not doing the the word, so yeah, you might see some stuff, but about the only thing, well, like, I think, well, as I did with, what's the name of it? Well, actually, people saw the last page of, Snowdrift. They just didn't see it colored.
Yeah.
So, because I thought that would be a neat reveal for people to see that page, although, it had people had seen the coloring for her before, but that particular page colored being the last one. Good Night Spoon says, OG French guy in time suit wins my vote. JR's sweet saying sweet about something. But yeah, and like I've pretty much almost anything that I've done on my comics so far, I've put it on air, unless it's something that I think might be neat for people to see for the first time when they pick up the book and open it and get to that page, something like that. And I don't think there'd be too much in Canadian Shield 4 for that. Although right now I'm not giving away much, saying about different things that happen in it. Although I read, I read 3 or 4 pages out loud, right? And I've said a little bit of what happened right even before those pages, so I'm not too worried about that stuff. Yeah, because people might might see it or whatever, you know, and maybe it'll attract people to the campaign, you know, and then the fact that you're doing it on your channel, you know, might attract some other people too. to go buy it when it's or get wanting to buy it. The only thing I say is, well, actually, you won't be able to do it. Just if you're doing the video, say it's going to be an upcoming campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Buy Cross Comics to learn more. Go to his channel.
Mm-hmm. Will do.
JR says maybe hide a splash page until the book is done. Expose rest. Yeah, there's something I'm not even sure about offhand. Although we're at that time, but I'm going to quickly. Not even sure whether there is a quote unquote splash page.
Oh, there will be.
And by that, for me, I mean a single image page. When I was now read issue 3 and with all the carnage, so he lets happen. Oh yeah, we do have a splash page. Page 3. Page 3 is just one image of that customer walking up to the Canadian Shield on like a stool type thing. He's at the counter, like those old style diner things where you had the stools and the eat thing at the counter. Sketch?
Yeah, you cut off there for a minute.
Oh, okay. The old style diners where they had the counter that you could eat at, and the stool.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Canadian Shield is sitting on a stool at a counter like that in a diner, like a diner.
And that's one strong stool.
So, and then the customer that's going to be making fun of him is walking up behind him
Yeah.
or walking up to him. That's the splash page with the title "Wake the Dead." And that's more a hint at something that's going to come further on in the issue, which I haven't been. I've said before, and if people want me to say, they can type 2 in the chat. Superman 2 diner scene. Sort of, yeah. Good night, Spoon. And that 2 doesn't count for the Superman 2. Good night, Spoon.
You cut off again.
Oh, I
Hold on.
did? Okay.
Might be mine.
I'm not sure whose end that is.
Probably man.
Am I cutting
As
out
soon
in
as
the
I
chat
moved it.
there?
As soon as I moved my microphone stuff, it came back.
Good night, Spoon says I've watched too many movies.
Yeah. Possibly has.
I don't know whether you can watch too many movies.
I mean, what is too much?
So I guess nobody wants to hear what the... Oh, did you hear me say what the title was for the the splash page for issue 4?
No.
It's the title of it or the story is "Wake the Dead,"
Mm,
and that refers to something that happens later on in the comic book.
yeah. Somebody's resurrected.
Yes, somebody who's going to get their own comic book.
Ah,
I think a month later.
Oh, let me switch ports.
Okay, that was weird. Can you have too many cooks? Show the zombies. Yes, you can't. No, you can't have too many cooks. You can just have too many cooks in the kitchen. Well, actually, you can't even have a. You might not even have too many cooks in the kitchen. You just could have too many cooks in charge in the kitchen. As long as there's only one or two chefs, cooks in charge, you're all right. As long as the others can follow instructions, you're good. Where else would good cooks be? They could be in the dining room eating. They could be at home. Just because you're not cooking in a restaurant, does that make you not a cook? If you are normally a cook for your vocation, when I'm not doing art stuff, does that make me any less an artist? I certainly don't want my chefs in the bathroom. Why? You want them going to the bathroom in the kitchen? Good night, spoon. I must be going in and out on.
yeah. Like I hear you, and then like I where a part where I know you're gonna laugh at your own joke doesn't happen. I hear the joke, but I don't hear you laugh like you were earlier. So I was like, yeah, he's got to be cutting in and out because I know Rick, he'd be giggling at that.
Is it bad to laugh at your own jokes? I've heard that it is.
I don't see why it would be. I mean, somebody's got to find them funny, right? If it's
Good.
not you, then why would you be saying them?
Yeah. Yeah. If I didn't think my joke was funny, why should I tell my joke? Goodnight Spoon says Megatron needs better internet.
No, I have full signal. I'm landline, baby.
I don't know why I'm cutting in and out then for you because mine's
It could just be my mic,
or your
my
earphones.
headset. My headset, yeah. If I put you like where I could hear you on the speakers, it won't cut out.
Yeah.
I probably just need a new headset.
Yeah.
Buy Corsair, they said. Corsair's a good brand, they said.
Now I suggest what Evan gave me here, which is I'm not sure.
Those looks like razors.
Yeah, that's what it is. Razer. Evan gave me these, along with a few other things too that I have. Some I've been using, some I haven't. Actually, he gave me the camera that I'm using.
How's the PC working for you?
Good, good, good.
You're not keeping the site open still, are you?
Yes, haven't put it on yet.
But are you cleaning it regularly?
Probably not. No.
You should. Like, right, get yourself like a cheap
Fan?
paintbrush. No, a cheap paintbrush from
Oh.
like the.
Oh yeah, you mean something like That?
Yeah, and just dust it off every time before you turn it on.
Turn
Before
it
you turn it
on.
on to use it.
Turn it
You're
on.
not.
What? What?
You never shut it off.
No.
You need to shut it off. Computers have to be restarted from time to time.
Oh, it gets probably
Because
restarted at least. I'd
those
probably
things
say
are
once a week.
dust magnets, and dust creates heat, and heat kills computer components.
Goodnight Spoon says he also gave you a much better mic than the one you're using, allegedly. I gave my mom the Snowball because using this one. Uh, Evan gave me a Snowball mic,
Hmm.
but nobody said there was much difference. So
Oh no, the snowball was much more clear. I could hear you breathing easily. Like you needed to configure it, but yeah, like I heard all the noises in the background with that snowball.
well, that's good,
Which
but
means,
bad then.
well, yeah, because those aren't actually made to pick up all the noises. It's just that means that there's hardly any noise and hardly anything to really absorb sound in your room. Which is funny because you got all them toys and stuff back there. You think it would?
Like I said, the Snowball was not one of the good ones. So there was this one, but then there was that tall thing. It sort of looks like a mic, but I thought it was only a speaker.
Hmm.
Good night. Good night's giving himself away too much right now.
All right, Rick. I'm gonna call it a night.
Okay, well, you want to promote anything before you take off?
No,
Today.
not at this time. Not till I start doing other stuff.
Okay,
But I appreciate you letting me on.
yeah. And I guess with that, I'm going to take off too. So thanks for a sketchbook coming on. Thanks for Mike coming on. Thanks for everybody in the audience coming by. I will be on tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern. And we're going to be doing 2 interviews, one at 5 and one at 6 for books. One for the Telepathic Bunny for his book. I forget what it's called offhand. And then one for a guy doing a book called Sector 7. So, and then I got to figure out something to do for my short for tomorrow. So, I guess it's bye for now. God bless. See you all hopefully tomorrow. Bye for now. God
God bless.
bless.